Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
How data and analytics can actually help you simplify your marketing. Now, I can understand if you're a coach, consultant, or small to medium business owner, you obviously rely on data to make business decisions, okay? From the data you get from your website, the data you get from your clients, the analytics that come through from all your lead generation definitely helps you make smarter business decisions and also marketing decisions that actually get you to run your business like a well-oiled money-making machine. But also, there's a problem when it comes to actually making sense of those numbers and actually getting them to work for you instead of you working for them. So a lot of people are just fumbling in the dark when it comes to optimizing their website, when it comes to actually posting how many times on social media. They might not have the accurate data, and they're probably just going on best practice or industry benchmarks and standards, which might not actually be helping them, and they end up doing everything else but not getting any return on their investment. So since you're an internet explorer and a subscriber to the Online Prosperity Experience, I'm going to be taking you on a journey to actually make sure that you make sense and you decipher the website and blog analytics, the basics and the numbers that actually matter. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, Prosper, we've heard you talk about analytics before. Numbers are not my thing. But let me tell you something. After you finish listening to this podcast, you definitely know which numbers to track and what matrix and KPIs can actually make you stand head and shoulders above everybody else in the marketplace that's trying to get where you're at. And if you are an avid listener to our podcast, you might also stop me and say, hey, you've already done an episode about measuring digital marketing matrix, episode number 19. And I'll be telling you that at the end of the day, we can never have enough of data because we actually have a product where we help our customers make sense of the numbers behind, the business that they're creating and what to actually major on and focus on. Because a lot of people focus on numbers and it's not their fault. We are brought up in a world where we measure certain things in order to rank each and every individual based on their income, based on their societal standing, anything to do with anything that puts people in a grading system. There's numbers involved. Ever since primary school, we used to be numbered 1 up to maybe 30 or how many other kids that are in the class, measuring on how you rank when it comes to your academic prowess. So numbers are actually magical, but if we start measuring things that don't matter, we will be on a race to the bottom and will be going no way fast, okay? Because you would understand what you measure actually gets paid attention to, you know what I mean? And what you pay attention to usually gets better. But you want to be making sure that you are measuring the right thing. There's a lot of people that are measuring in things that don't even move the needle in order to get them have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And I can imagine growing up in a society like we do right now. Your income is measured in numbers, your height is measured in numbers, your age is measured in numbers, time is measured in numbers. So numbers supercharge measurement, and it makes it easy to compare what Sally is getting from what John is actually getting. But if you are going to be using that as a yardstick to grow your business, you will be number one on the race to the bottom. and it's not going to help your bottom line. It's not going to help your staff, and especially if you rely on your business to put food on the table, it will actually put an enormous strain on you. So I'm here to calm your farm. All right. Like I was saying, I think Seth Godin talks about numbers a lot. He knows data is important, but he doesn't really specialize in measuring all these other things. Because he knows, and he says that numbers make it difficult to hide behind stats. If somebody shows you stats or somebody brings you a few numbers here and there, numbers don't lie. Okay, so that's where the problem lies, especially when it comes to digital marketing, because you're dealing with people. Numbers only work when you're dealing with logic, okay? But half of the people that we are ending up selling to make emotional decisions. How do you measure heart? How do you download a hug? All right? How do you measure when a client came to you at the brink of bankruptcy and you turned their business around? How do you put that in numerical terms and measure that against what somebody else is going through? That's where the problem then happens when you're a coach, consultant, or a small to medium business, when you're trying to make sense of what's happening with your digital marketing and you're using numbers as a means of measurement. All right. So, it's like I keep saying, numbers are a difficult subject. That's why I actually have to be conscious in what I'm saying, not to make you go away from this podcast thinking, oh, I'm not going to have to measure things that are happening on my site. Yes, there are things that you need to measure, which I will be, referring to a little bit later. Obviously, how many people are coming to your website, the site visitors, and how long they're actually staying on the website, which is called the bounce rate. All of that is important for you to actually aggregate well when it comes to search engine optimization, and how many people are actually coming through, a specific traffic channel. Because if something is working, you want to do more of and invest more in it, because what's working you keep and what's not working you ditch. And also you want to look at what pages people are actually visiting, and also optimizing the ones that people are not visiting, because there's no point in you spraying and praying with your marketing if people are not actually responding or converting, when it comes to the funnels that you're creating on your website. So numbers matter, all right? But it actually makes it very difficult, and it puts entrepreneurs in a very difficult position, because look at this. Your income right now, maybe you are aiming to go towards 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K a month, right? Income is easy to measure. And we all fall into that trap where if people who make more money are either happier or wealthier. Obviously they're wealthier, but either happier or better than us, or somehow more worthy of respect and dignity. And we do that within our society. Anyone who just becomes a billionaire, we sit around, we clap hands for them whenever they pollute the world with their private jets. All that stuff is happening just because somebody has a higher income than us, and we stop and look at them in awe and marvel at everything else that they do, even if it's at the detriment of all of humanity. All right. And we also celebrate those people that have a lot of social media likes and followers, and people that are influencers. If maybe you don't do that, but the rest of the world is following an influencer or two, Kim Kardashian just shows up naked or with clothes on or whatever she feels like, and everybody's tripping, stumbling, and falling, giving her accolades, likes, comments, and shares, whereas people that are doing work that matters, don't even get or get any accolades of equal measure. All right. So like I was saying, likes on social media are easy to measure, and social media now then becomes that race to the bottom where whoever has the most likes and whoever takes the most clothes off wins. And if you're a professional, obviously, that's not a race you want to be a part of, okay? And we also have, maybe when you go to Google, there's reviews that you have to be measured against your competitors. Some people are getting 5-star reviews. All of that is easy to measure. So if you're a creator, or if you're a coach or consultant, you feel the pleasure of actually showcasing and parading all your 5-star reviews. And whenever somebody gives you a 1-star review, you want to hide it, you want to report it, you want to cry, you take the rest of the day off just because it's something that you were not expecting. But wait, what if you can actually learn from that 1-star review? What if you can learn what your customers want? What if you can learn how to actually serve them? What if you can do better from that sort of a review? I have a lot of clients who we have to take them through a lot of technological things, and half of the time they don't end up signing up with us because they are too confused because of all the technological platforms they have to sign up onto just to make their marketing machine work. And half of the time people like that would maybe leave us a 1-star review, not because we're not good at what we're doing, but because of their own competency. So what has that prompted me to do? We now have yet another person within my team who actually handholds our customer just to teach them all the technology that we have created for them, just so that the whole process becomes a 10-key endeavor for them, and they actually have a happier experience. And guess what we've been receiving from that? We've been receiving very happy clients that are now paying, staying, and referring. And that emanated from somebody leaving a 1-star review. All right, we took advantage of that 1-star review and we perfected our business processes. Now, there is lessons, there's methods, and it's just a way that people can communicate with you. But we only want to parade and look at the 5-star reviews. You know why? Because they're easy to measure. And we try and we bend over backwards to make sure that we are giving people, service that actually leaves us depleted and, we're burnt out because we just want to get that 5-star review. What if you actually work to get 2 stars, 3-star reviews, and then you start creating and improving your business processes because people are actually giving you free, study or research where you can actually work with the right kind of people with the right kind of pain, and you improve your processes and you actually know what people actually want. What if that's the frame that you're looking at it? In our world right now, what does it actually mean to win? Is it like maybe maximizing a convenient number, or actually going to, be at an award show? What does it actually mean to win? All those people that win awards or things of that nature, you apply for that stuff. People that are seen in publicity or in newspapers and things like that, there are places where you can actually go and apply to be seen in the public face or, to have publicity options. That doesn't necessarily mean you're winning. Do you have customers coming to you, knocking on your house's door, knocking on your office door and saying, because of you, I did not give up? I know I do. You know what I mean? What impact and outcome are you actually creating with that 5-star review? Wouldn't you rather be actually helping people by actually helping them and making sure that you create products for your customers instead of just trying to be the best there is? Let me tell you something. The most important work out there is not usually the most popular. There is one person right now who is toiling to, find the cure for cancer. But because they haven't found it yet, nobody talks about them. Because they haven't found the cure for the next pandemic, nobody talks about it. But just because it's relevant and people start talking about it, that's when somebody automatically becomes an overnight success. But they probably spent 15 years learning how to do it. I was laughing yesterday. I had a client who had a meltdown because they wanted to go and present at a conference. It was just a late opportunity that they got, and they came to me and they're like, oh my God, I need a landing page for this, or can I just go with what I have? And I was like, give me 20 minutes. And I whooped up together the landing page and the emails that followed through, and then I didn't know it could take you that quick. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It took me 20 years to be able to do this in 20 minutes. All right. So don't undervalue or don't underestimate the amount of knowledge that had to go into me creating something you can present to, your future prospects in under 20 minutes. All right. So all the important work that is being done out there is not in the popular domain. We don't celebrate people enough that are doing things that are actually changing people's lives and making other people's lives better. So do you think widespread acceptance translates into significant impact? Yes, you could be, that whiz bang influencer in your niche, but are you actually making a difference? How do you measure that? How do you measure a kid in Africa who is looking at you as their role model? How do you measure that success that somebody is actually pegging their life and using you as a yardstick or as a reference point that you are who they want to become when they grow older? Is that the sales that you're making online? Is it because you're on the bestseller list on some sort of a book list that can be manufactured? What are you measuring? And even if we look at those reviews, who are those reviews from? Have you not noticed even on LinkedIn or on social media, people are saying, hey, can you leave me a 5-star review and I'll do the same for you? Are they based on actual work? Are they based on expectation, let's say maybe in a marketing form? Or are they just based on maybe some sort of an exchange that you did with someone just predicated on the fact that you want to game the system? Even anyone who's got a bestseller list or bestseller book, that's a marketing ploy where you rally all your people behind the scenes and say, hey guys, can you just go and buy the ebook? And then I'll take a screenshot of when that time is happening so that, people would think I'm a bestseller. You know what? It turns out a lot of great books and a lot of great movies, don't even make the mainstream. They get their own fair share of lousy reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. If you know that platform, go and check out. Some movies are really, really good, especially movies that tell the truth. Nobody wants them in the mainstream. Let me tell you why. Because popular items, maybe attract more users, and users, might think that, people like us do things like this. Even in school, I was talking about school, your grades, your graduation grades or whatever, certifications that you might have a whole big, long list of alphabet soup letters that come after your name on LinkedIn. Because that's the easiest way for you to actually show that at least you did something. And it's the easiest way for you to maybe tell other people that you're not mediocre. But can you actually do the work? Can you actually make a difference? So many people that were in my class, that were always naughty, always late, they got good grades. You know why? Because they crammed the exam. That doesn't mean they're very good people. And half of them may maybe end up in like a correctional institution or they're arrested. Let me tell you something. When we lose track of what's important, in our rush to maybe keep track of what's only measurable, we fail as a society. We fail as marketers. We fail as coaches. We fail as parents. Because if we only celebrate the only things that are visible or things that make us look good, then what's going to happen to when your kid misbehaves in public? I mean, obviously, you're right. The right numbers matter. I mean, I don't know if you guys know the story of Henry Ford. Like 100 years ago, Henry Ford was one of the first people who figured out how to build a car cheaper, better, faster than any of his competitors. And his work is what has now created the modern day factory. And in actual fact, his work is what is now inspiring Elon Musk to create, these electric cars at Marseille. And you know what he was doing? He was selling the Model T for a fraction of what it would cost other companies to make it. You know why? Because he had the labor for it and he was painting every car black. So if you are measuring the cost of manufacturing the car based on that, nobody could maybe pay as much as he was paying at that time. You know why? Because he knew if he had the best workers that were paid enough, he would actually, in the long run, make it cheaper for him. So what were people looking at? People were just looking at the salaries. And that's when unions were formed, because all of that stuff, it was just because of numbers. But at the end of the day, he made it easy for people to start line production. Even farmers during that time, they started noticing if we, have specialized labor, it makes it easy for us to have higher yields. And farmers actually discovered that the yield was the secret to their success. Yes, obviously, you have how many bags of this did you make? How many tons of maize did you, or corn or grain per acre that you would have created? And that's easy to measure. You know what I mean? If you've got 5 tons per acre, it's easy for you to talk about that at the bar. Let me tell you something. What people want is not how many metric tons you can produce. People want flavor. People want nutrition. People want health. So how do you measure happy kids based on the cereal that they're eating in the morning? You know? Even when you go to war, right now as I speak, there's a war in Ukraine, and people maybe measure, if you're in the army, people measure how many people you have killed or measuring body count. Let me tell you something. When you measure the wrong thing, you get the wrong results. Garbage in, garbage out. How do you measure a hug? How do you measure somebody coming to you just simply because you are making their life better? I mean, perhaps you can be precise in your measurement, because obviously maybe precision, makes you look significant within the industry. It makes you look good. But are you actually making an impact? How are you measuring what you're doing? Because precision is not significance, because at the end of the day, on the other hand, when you're able to expose your work and your process to the right thing, and maybe to the right metric, that actually matters. Good things start to happen. Are you doing work that matters for people who care? Are you showing up for those that need you the most? Have you identified your target market? Are they accepting that, yes, they have the right kind of pain that you have solutions for? Can you encourage their dreams? Can you justify the failures that they've been going through before they met up with your own process? Are you able to pinpoint and throw rocks at what enemies they might have right now so you can make their lives better? If you start measuring the right things, good things happen, my friend. You really need to spend more time figuring out what to keep track of and less time actually obsessing over numbers that actually don't mean anything, or numbers that other people are already measuring anyway. So maybe you might be thinking, so what does this actually do? What does this have to do with marketing or anything else? When in doubt, just keep things simple. All right? Because one thing for sure, tracking all these analytics can be exciting, especially when you see your numbers steadily improve and, you're getting a lot of subscriptions here. You've got your leads coming in and you're looking at the numbers happening. Are you, and maybe your bank balance is growing each and every day, but are you actually measuring the right things? All right. For you to keep things simple and to continually get the most out of your analytics, I actually find it helpful maybe to just take them monthly or quarterly with maybe a goal that you might have. All right. Just then. But at the end of the day, look at how your customer service is, returning calls. How many times does somebody have to ring in order to get answered? How many times does somebody have to write an email in order to get an answer? How many times do people have to complain in order to get somebody to look at their accounts or anything that's happening to them? So there's things that you might, obviously need to check just to see if your business is healthy. Obviously, how many leads you're generating. All right. And you need to check in once in a while just to make sure that at least you're hitting the mark, you're hitting the target. But I'm not going to sit around and watch how many people are listening to this podcast. You know what I'm going to be checking out? Because with this podcast comes a content upgrade where you can subscribe and get to know more about data and analytics, or maybe get one of our services so that you can also, start creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. With our, with data, you can unlock all the easy wins that you might have, and it actually brings you a lot more leads, sales, and revenue, and we can manufacture that within your business. But I want you to stop measuring things that don't actually matter. So you might be asking, okay, so if you don't want us to sit and keep refreshing our analytics account, what should you be looking at? I suggest you look at how many people are actually visiting your site. Because that then informs, is your content strategy on point? Is your website actually working? Do you actually have a message that people actually want to connect with? Because site visitors is the total number of unique visitors each and every day. Is this increasing? Is it going up? Or is it going down? What is causing it to go up? What have you changed in your marketing strategy that is impacting the amount of leads that you're getting now or lack thereof? That is what you can measure. And then that then informs your marketing, because if you're not getting a lot of site visitors, then you need to figure out, have I actually identified the right kind of market with the right kind of pain? And are these people hungry enough? Or do they have the purchasing power that I want for them to actually then convert? Or are they easy to target? Am I swimming in the right pond? Site visitors is something that you can measure, but you don't have to do it every single day. Once a month, once a quarter, that's more than enough, while you're focusing on creating for and relating to your audience. And once the people have visited your site, how long are they actually staying on the site? You invite people to a party, and how long are they staying at the buffet table? How long are they staying at the bar? How long are they staying in the smoking area? How long are they staying in the lounge? Measure that. That's important, so that you can optimize for those different locations. Not necessarily have to put a sledgehammer on all of your marketing just simply because you're not looking at the right matrix that you need to be measuring. So when you're measuring site duration or bounce rate, you're looking at, is my content good enough that people are staying long on the website? If not, what can I add? Is there any more links that I can add onto the website? What do I need to make sure that people are cushy and they stay a little bit long on the website? If you know what to do, then you can spice up maybe the copy on the homepage. You can add a few more videos, because the longer somebody stays on the site, the longer Google will actually start knowing that, okay, so this content is relevant. And if it's relevant enough, guess what? I'll let people, come to this site more often. And another thing that doesn't need a sledgehammer when it comes to our marketing is when we have determined the media in which we're going to be reaching our audience with, we need to actually then sharpen our message to make sure we're targeting the right people in that traffic channel. So do you actually know where most of your visitors are coming from? Because I noticed that a lot of people, yes, we might have Facebook and LinkedIn and social media. We hardly had any really tangible conversions when it came to those places. A lot of people that convert in my industry are actually coming from Google itself. You know why? Because these people are definitely searching for the information, and SEO really target somebody who's got an intention to make a purchase, or to actually find more information about a product. So we started doubling down on SEO. We started doubling down on content like this, because the moment I sit down for 30 minutes on a podcast like this gets transcribed into a blog. This then gets transcribed, into smaller pieces of content that we can spread around. And eventually, this also can be indexed through Google Voice Search. So if somebody just wants to listen to an answer with regards to their analytics, guess what? My podcast might just pop up. And maybe this is how you came across the Online Prosperity Experience, which is where I actually encourage you to subscribe, because you will miss out on information like this. So when you know which traffic channel to measure, then you know to either lean in on that specific channel, not just be everywhere, spraying and praying with your marketing, because we all know that people do not listen to marketing that is not directed at them. And once the people have come to your website, just check out what landing pages they're actually viewing. What are they looking for? At what stage in their buying journey do they actually show up at your website? And start creating for that kind of person. Why would you want to, create for and relate to people that are not even going to buy from you anyway? What sort of specific topic do you need to be creating more content for? And which topics are high performing? And which topics actually lead to conversions? And how can you leverage any of the content that you already have, in your emails or in distributing that content to other people that might not have seen that stuff already? Listen, man, like I say, I'm the founder of Live Long Digital, and we've built strategies for coaches, consultants, to actually master their data and analytics, because I firmly believe that you are changing the world, even one person at a time. So if you check out the link that comes with this podcast, you will notice that we can develop a unique data and analytics plan for you that could help you actually increase your revenue and, attract the right kind of people with the right kind of pain so that they can connect and convert. And if you're looking at the right things, you can actually improve your conversion rates. You can skyrocket all the organic traffic that comes to your website, and you can literally boost your revenue. And wouldn't that be nice? So stop fumbling in the dark when it comes to maybe optimizing your site or actually creating for and relating to your audience. Use data, but don't get too fixated on you now measuring everything that comes along with a digital marketing space. The internet is an infinite space. You can create and create and create and create and create. Only lazy people start measuring what they have done and looking at where they've been. Look at where you are headed to and use data to only help you make smarter decisions and really, really hone in on your authenticity and your expertise on the internet. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this information. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au